What's up, everybody? It's Ben from Maine Woods and Water. Today I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm going to look at my platform hunting setup, something that's new to me. I started doing it this year. I've been in it about 5 or 6 times. Wanted to try it out before I made a review about it. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's been quite the challenge for me in senses, but it's been very rewarding as well. Okay, so here we have my saddle, which I have the Tethrd Phantom, which I've been really happy with. As you can see, it's a completely mesh material. I really haven't had any complaints. You have, this is one of their hauler bags, I'll get to it in a minute. But you have it's kind of complicated when you first get it. To be honest, I didn't know what I was looking at. But once you break it down, it's pretty simple. So you have the main buckle that goes around your waist right here. You have 2 straps that go up under your legs and attach to the orange loops. And really, that's it. That's what holds you in. And you have this green rope here is the climbing rope, which is essentially your lineman tether. And then this gray rope is what you attach when which you attach your tether to once you're actually in the tree. Overall, it's really lightweight. I'm able to put it right on when I get out of the truck, and I walk right into the stand with it. It's very quiet, very mobile, which is something I'll talk more about, but it's definitely one of the biggest advantages of having a saddle is the mobility you get with it. Here's one of the hauler bags I bought from Tethrd. I would highly recommend at least one hauler bag. They have the molly up here on the top and bottom, which is really convenient. Okay, so here I have the platform set up as I would when I'm hunting. And you'll notice that I have the platform pretty much even with what would be the last step on the top of my climbing sticks in the tree. And I learned how to do this because a friend who had already been in this said if you set it about 45 degrees or so off of the platform, off of the last climbing step, that gives you full rotation all the way around the tree. And I'm going to climb up and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. But that's what I've been doing, about 45 degrees, not quite the opposite side, and it's been working pretty well for me. I thought I would share the only frustration I've found with these muddy sticks with having just the rope set up is they do that. And I don't like that because what happens is when I'm climbing, I will a lot of times hit the steps with my knee, and then if I'm climbing in the dark with just a headlamp, they'll slide down a foot or so and kind of mess everything up. So I've kind of learned what I have to do is, as I'm getting ready to step up, I put one hand on the top step, and then I'll put my foot on the bottom. And it will cinch down, but that will stop it from doing is moving up and sliding down, like sometimes they have the tendency to do. Overall, I still really like them because of how quiet they are. They don't make any noise whatsoever when you're putting them in the tree. I've climbed into trees with deer at 50 or 60 yards with no problems. So I would say it's worth it, but it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so here I am fully attached into the tree. And most of the time when I'm sitting in the saddle, I'll either be completely reclined, and so I'm like scooted right down beside the tree like this with my knees against the tree. What I will do is right here where my knees hit, you can either buy knee pads, but I wanted to try and do this as cost effective as possible. So what I did is I take my backpack and I strap it around the tree right there, which gives me just that extra level of padding, and it's perfectly fine for me. Or what you'll see is most of the time when I'm hunting, my legs are straight, I'm braced off of the platform, and I can just kind of sit here comfortably. It's not really sitting, I guess it's more propped up against it. The great part about the saddle is, what I'll show you in a second, is the full mobility around the tree. I went from using a Summit Viper climber to this, and I'll go over it a little bit. The climber definitely is more comfortable, but the saddle has a lot more versatility and is a lot more mobile and a lot quieter. So I'll show you in just a second how I can essentially shoot 360 degrees around the tree. Okay, so as you can see right here, here's the platform and here's the tree. So the beauty of the climber is being able to, if a deer was coming this way, I can just lean, as you can see. And then what ends up happening is the further I lean, the further I can see. And with the beauty of putting your steps right here, I can just step right over and you can see how far I can rotate. So obviously that's my house in the background, but I've just rotated essentially 270 degrees with just using my feet with both my hands on the camera. So that's a game changer when it comes to being able to shoot. And if I want to shoot behind me, I'm just going to rotate the other way. And as you can see right here, still two hands on the phone. I'm a right-handed shooter. The branch out of the way. I can shoot the rest of the way all right behind me with just moving my feet. That's all I've done, which is probably one of the best options when it comes to the saddle. Okay, so there's 3 accessories I thought I would go over with you that I think that are worth the money when I got into this setup that I would recommend for you guys. Number 1, you have the system hauler. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I think it's necessary because I keep my tether and my HSY strap in there that's made by Tethrd. I'll go over that in just a second. You need some sort of compartments that's easily accessible to strap on. Fits great, works. I think it's totally worth it. HSY strap. Here we have it right here. I've never seen really anything like it, but it's been a game changer for me because I went from with being in the Summit Climber, I just held my bow all the time. I can't do that in a saddle. So this is a great tool. So essentially you just have, it almost looks like a bandolier, but it's not. You have a hook on one side, right down there, and all you do is wrap it around the tree, hook it into one of the loops and tighten it. And then what I did is I went to Home Depot and I bought a couple of metal S-loops. I have them right here actually. They're like $3. These, as opposed to buying them from Tethrd where they're a lot more expensive. I just bought a couple of those and they work great. You hook your bow and your quiver right into it. Something else that's worth the money is the Ropeman Ascender. I put this on my lineman belt because with the lineman belt you have to be adjusting it a lot more as you climb. So the Ascender is actually rock climbing gear, but they've kind of modified it for saddle hunting. But it's great because you see you either just pull it, if you want it tighter, you just pull the rope and it automatically tightens. If you want it looser, you just pull on this metal loop, a little bit of tension and it loosens right up. Makes a world of difference when you're when you're climbing. I don't really think you need it for the tether strap because once you get that kind of settled in, you don't really move it throughout the hunt. It's just kind of set there, and as opposed to the climbing belt, the lineman's belt, you're moving as you go up and down the tree. All right, so in conclusion, guys, I really like the saddle setup. I think it's worth the money. I think overall that it does its job fantastically well. I think there's a couple of little caveats you have to realize about it. Number 1, it's not as comfortable as a climber. It's not designed to be as comfortable as a climber. If you're looking for something where you want to sit for 8 hours a day for 3 days straight, for some people the saddle does it. For me, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm not gonna lie. I would still go for my Summit Climber if I was gonna be sitting for 8 hours. I find sitting for 2 to 3 hours absolutely no problem, which for early season what we're in right now, that's what I do. It's way more mobile than a climber though, and it is way quieter. The great part about the saddle is you can, as you're climbing, if you need to, you can move your lineman belt around branches. You don't have to cut them, you don't have to break them, or you can, I had a little dead branch that I was able to loosen it up and just slide right over. And it's a lot lighter and a lot quieter and more mobility, which is kind of what the saddle was designed for, is mobility and stealth. So I'd say in those aspects, it's 100% worth it. I think if you're hunting in an area where you're going to go sit for 8 hours a day, you have perfectly straight trees where you can put a climber in and just sit there, I'd stay with your climber. But around here in New England, at least, or Maine specifically, there's not a lot of perfectly straight trees with no branches. And it's greatly opened up the avenues I have to be able to hunt trees that I wouldn't have been able to hunt with my climber, and has really opened up a lot more spots to me. So I think really, in conclusion, it's what are you doing? If you're sitting all day and you're gun hunting, or you're content to have that one spot that you always sit up on, stick with your climber. If you want to be mobile and have ultralight gear and be able to go a lot of different places and really be able to set up where you want, or you do a lot of scout hunts, the saddle is 100% for you. If you guys have any questions, obviously drop them in the comments. And I'll be keeping you guys updated as we go along, hopefully bringing you video footage of a deer I shoot this year from the saddle, and I'll tell you how it goes.